Hey ladies, how's it going? I'm in the middle of making a pretty big video, but I can't go a whole other week without uploading. So I asked on my community tab, hey, how about you guys ask me some questions and I'm gonna answer them. And that's this video. I also threw this thing straight up onto the Instagram, and that's where we're gonna start. I get one question that asks, do you think making videos on drama just brings it more attention? And the simple answer is, yeah, I guess so, but it always gets forgotten about because the next day, a new news story, a new drama, a new hot topic gets everybody's attention. The thing about making videos on drama is that they do get the most clicks. People are most interested in like conflict, turmoil, controversy, you know, that kind of thing. But not everybody plays into those hands because like the ramifications of it sometimes they're just like not worth it. You get entire groups of people throwing vitriol at you because they don't like your opinion or whatever. And you just gotta have to be okay with that to make this kind of content, I guess. But on the topic of drama, I'm trying to stay away from it online these days because it just like catches up to you, you know? And maybe I don't love all the side things that come along with it because there are a lot of side things that come along with it. And in the moment, it's a lot of fun. You like riling people up, but you know, I gotta stop doing that. So I'm buckling down and I'm making big, long, toasty videos that take my attention away 100% of the time so I don't have time for drama. And in the meantime, I'll come on and upload one of these kinds of videos because they're coming after my head right now and I gotta stay distracted. This next one isn't a question, it's more of a statement, and it says, Cool Side are back. And I couldn't be more stoked to hear that news. Cool Side are one of the coolest bands that I have ever heard. They have one of the coolest live sets I've ever seen on YouTube. Look it up, Cool Side at Program, very sick. But now it's time to get down to the meat of all this. We're going over to the community tab. So if you want to get your question read, you head on over there to the community tab because I'm going to be putting up another one of these in another week or so, and you can ask your question and get featured in one of these vidgies. We get Bobby Magoo coming in with a big hey man. He's asking, what was your first hardcore show? What were the sights and sounds, and how did it compare to what you were going to before that? And I actually can't answer this quite clearly. I don't remember exactly what age I was, but I went to this local show at the Arts Guild to see Crazy Pete and the Dickmen, more of an oi band, and more of a screamo band, I guess, at the time. Tastes Like Burning. I was a young, impressionable kid that hasn't seen any of this stuff. I was maybe up a little bit past my bedtime to see people wearing spikes, to see people wearing plaid, to see people with denim and leather and spiky hair and all this sort of stuff. And it was very new to me, and I loved it all. And I knew from that very moment, well, this is my stuff. I love all this stuff. This is home. And I guess before that, you know, it was just like arena shows, theater shows, nothing special. You know the thing. Then we get Samuel coming in asking so many questions, so I'm just gonna take this one at a time. First, which hardcore bands do you think are getting the most overhype? I don't really have an answer for this question, but I do want to say I don't like Endgame. I don't like anything Endgame has to stand for. Can I say that again? Endgame is a very bad band that do nothing right. Their guitar playing, whack. Their writing, whack. When they get together to put out music, I don't know how they do it because they can't even tie their own shoes. Their personalities, whack. Everything about Endgame is bad. Favorite record label? I don't know, I think Triple B is doing a great job these days. Band you used to like and now hate? I can safely say that's Tsunami. Fuck those guys. Bands you think that have overstayed their welcome? I'd have to give that to old MGK. Worst frontman? Again, the honor goes to our Lord, Machine Gun Kelly. Worst and best album of the year. The best album is Soul Glow, and I know you can guess which is the worst. That is MGK, Mainstream Sellout. Bad record. And then Justin comes in and he goes, what are 3 bands that should have quit after one album? And like, this is a lot of numbers. My brain is trying to compute 3 bands, 1 record. But what this actually means is who put out 1 good record and then all the rest of their records not so good, they shouldn't have put those out, should have just put out 1 record because that 1 record was good. That's how I'm interpreting this. It could also mean they put out 1 record and should have stopped because it was so bad and they shouldn't inflict their nonsense onto the world any longer. You know, that is another way to interpret this. But one band that should have quit after 1 record is Fucked Up. They're this high concept hardcore band from right here in Toronto, and I think one record is enough to get an idea of their long-winded version of hardcore. Now, I wanted to dig into my adolescence and go back to when I was a kid, when I got a first record and was like, this is great, and then when the second record came out, I was like, this is so whack. And that happens to be from the band Sum 41. Their first record, I couldn't believe how awesome it was. I wanted to go see them. I went to go see them in a literal barn. It was so fun to see Sum 41 play in a literal barn with hay and everything. They were in a barn. After that record, no more barns. But my real answer to this is Alexis on Fire. Their first record is just George screaming his face off from beginning to end, and I love it. You can just hear how red and raw his throat is. It's just an amazing spectacle to behold. But then after that, they let Dallas do a lot of the singing. It becomes a little bit more radio rocky and singing, and not a fan. I think Alexis on Fire should have quit after one record. Because when they were a hardcore band or a screamo band, whatever you want to call them, just making towns, playing songs, driving people wild, they were untouchable. Now, I guess if you made it this far into the video, I'm going to combine the two AEW questions that I got when Nate comes in and asks, is everything fucked in AEW or is everything fine? And then Flint comes in and piles on and says, who's more in the wrong, the Elite or Punk? Now, to start with that one, they kind of both are in the wrong. Punk instigated everything that went down at that conference, and it breaks my heart to say that, because I adored this man, and what he did on that evening was catastrophic. I cannot express with words how devastating that was to the whole world around him. He eviscerated planet Earth on that evening. However, the Young Bucks, the Elite, Kenny Omega, they have official titles with the company. They are EVPs, Executive Vice Presidents. And they had no right to kick down the door and instigate this fight. They shouldn't have been in, hey, we didn't like the thing that used that. Now I get coming to Punk after hearing what he had to say, running down everybody in the world, and wanting to confront him man to man. But it was a whole skirmish. They had their whole clique, and Punk is one person. So I don't know. Punk had this one guy with him, I guess, this Ace Steel guy, and he ended up biting and pulling hair. But what would you do if it was a locker room of 2 against 1,000,000, and that 1,000,000 happens to be the cool guys that started this company, the It Clique, and they're all coming after the big guy, the big draw, the big time money. This is the biggest drama to happen in the world this year. So, that being said, is everything fucked, or is AEW going to be fine? And here's the thing about that. They have Punk suspended, took the title off him. They have the Elite suspended, took the trios titles off of them. And that's all great decision making. And they didn't even reference these guys on television. Just like, okay, these are the belts. They're no longer being held by people. Okay, we're going to go do this thing for these belts and this other thing for these belts. And that was kind of a cool way to go about it. But is everything fucked? I think not. Even though Aleister Black is stepping away, all these huge names are no longer available for TV, you still got Bryan Danielson. You still got Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho, Eddie Kingston. You still got a whole bunch of people that are very entertaining, that can tell captivating wrestling stories. Now, as much as I want to say that Punk is this big-time needle mover, whatever, the last couple months, he wasn't around, first big match, injured again, you can't really say too much about that. So I don't think it's going to be too fucked if you do the right things with Moxley and Bryan, you know, all these amazing wrestlers and characters that they have underemployed. And to be clear, I never listened to End Game before, but for some reason, just those two words together, End Game? That just doesn't sound right, and I don't even actually know anybody in the band, and I just felt like saying that, they might not even exist, I might just be making this up, but it sounds kind of like End Game is a band that exists that sucks, okay? And if End Game exists, they suck. So don't bother Googling them, that's a waste of time. Don't go to their Instagram pages, that's a waste of time. If you go to their Twitter, you're a stupid idiot, because End Game doesn't even exist, probably.